And I think we're on. Hey, everybody.
All right.
It's Mike Copera with podcastcondition.com. And we are here with episode number 62 of What You Drinking. And I'm here with Dan. You missed last week, so it's good to see you this week. So how you doing, Dan?
Pretty good. How's it going?
It's awesome, man. It's Wednesday. It's actually not too bad out. I went for like a run on my lunch break and then an hour and a half long walk after my work was done. So I've been spending some time outside. It's nice out.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get the business end out of the way, and then we got some stuff to talk about because you've got a beer festival that you've been to. We spun the wheel last week doing wild card, so we can talk about what beers we're bringing, and if anyone's watching, they can jump along and join in. I know Kevin's supposed to join us later on, but he came home and he's got some kids to tend to. So, but every week we our sponsor for What You Drinking is Puerto Rico Food and Liquors here in Chicago, Illinois. They're located at 2559 West Augusta here in Chicago. It's like the Humboldt Park neighborhood at about Augusta and Rockwell. And they've got a great Facebook page. It's usually a good way to stay in touch with things, but like I always say every week, their beer menus page is the best way to keep updated on what they've got on hand, and then you could always give them a call, of course, but Twitter as well, PRFL2559 is their handle on Twitter. Their phone number is 773-342-2678, and feel free to follow them, like I said, on Facebook, and ask for Junior. He will hook you up. He's a guy that I've been buying their beers for a while at that store when I used to live, like right around the corner, and they constantly are always improving and bringing in new stuff. So go to Puerto Rico Food and Liquors for all your craft beer needs in Chicago, and if you're here in town visiting, look them up and let them know that you saw them on this show, or you heard about them on this show. So that takes care of that. Dan, what you drinking? We had, like I said earlier, wild card landed on the wheel, so you can bring anything you want to the table, so let's see what you got.
Well, it's kind of apropos that you brought up beer festivals, because this will sound familiar to you from Beer Under Glass. This was one of my favorites from that one. It's from Spiteful Brewing, another one of my favorites locally. And this is their goddamn Pirate Pigeon Peanut Butter Porter. And
that was at Beer Under Glass?
Yeah, they had a keg of it at the Beer Under Glass, which was awesome, and tasting it fresh out of the keg was really good. It's 8.2% ABV. It doesn't give the hops on here or really much in the way of ingredients, but it's a malt bomb for sure. You don't really smell the nuttiness on the front. It's more like more of a coffee smell in the nose of it. You know, you've got the kind of the dark malts mixing it up down there, but poured with about a finger of head that came down pretty quickly. Not really much lacing, a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of nuttiness. It's actually out of the keg. The peanut butter was a little more pronounced. So I don't know if it's something. I've had this bottle for a few weeks, or like 2 3
How long's it been in the fridge?
Well, it's only been in the fridge for...
I should say, how long has it been out of the fridge?
Yeah. Oh, it's been out of the fridge for about 15, 20 minutes, so it's warmed up a little bit, but it could still warm up some.
I was going to say, give it some time, and I'll bet you those flavors start coming out a little bit better.
Yeah, same with the aromas, but right now the coffee, the chocolate notes, and the maltiness of it is tasty on its own. The nuttiness is still kind of more berry, but yeah, as it warms up, hopefully that'll become more pronounced. And when I drank it at Beer Under Glass, it was more so, and really very tasty. So this is a good one. So what nice.
You've been kind of on a spiteful kick lately, because I mean, I honestly haven't had that much of their stuff, unfortunately. I don't know what it is. It's not that I don't like their beers; they're amazing. They're really good, but I think they're smack dab right on the middle of the same shelf with Pipeworks, who has similar artwork, and I don't know, they just haven't had a beer pop out. I take that back. I love their GFY stout. Is it a double stout? I don't know.
At least it's a blueberry stout, yeah.
Which is really, really good. I just haven't I got to get more of their stuff. I want to try that one now. But I went with a local Chicago brewery as well. I've had this for a little bit. I was going to age it a little, and I saw that the reviews weren't stellar. They're not bad. They were, Beer Advocate had them in about a B range, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, Rate Beer had them at an overall 59 and 35 in the style.
Wow.
Beer Advocate was just out of an average of 21 ratings. It was an 86, which is a very good score. But
yeah.
So I didn't know if I wanted to age it, and I still could because there's plenty available in the stores. But I've had this out of the fridge for about 25 minutes now. It's the Omega Midnight Foreign Style Stout by Ale Syndicate here in Chicago. They've been around for about maybe about a year now. Yeah, it's got to be a little over a year now because I remember seeing them at Beer Under Glass last year when I was there. So
yeah, if I remember right, yeah, they've been around, but it's not necessarily their own facility. It might be a contracting brewing situation initially that they finally kind of built out there. Because weren't they the ones who were like doing that ultra green brewing facility, or am I thinking of someone else?
I think you're thinking of somebody, possibly thinking of somebody else. I think they're in Logan Square. Okay. Let me see. I'm on their website right now. Well, anyways, I do want to talk about this beer a little bit just because it's on their website. Ale Syndicate explains this beer, which is kind of interesting. It's I'll just read the copy here. Omega Midnight Stout is our first collaborative with Omega Yeast Labs here in Chicago. We work with them to create a proprietary blend of yeasts that work together to create a sweet, fruity stout with a dry finish. A big, dark, delicious beer that you can drink right away or set aside for a special occasion. So I guess you can age it. It's good. It doesn't stand out amongst other stouts, I would say, in any particular way that I can see here. But it's good. It smelled roasty, almost like smoked when I was first opening it and pouring it. And yeah, I haven't. Like I said, I took a quick sip. When I was pouring it, it didn't appear to be too black. I almost thought it was like almost like a brown ale looking, but it's obviously has no light going through it. It is dark as night, and I've never seen this camera work so well. It's actually zooming in and doing all kinds of nice stuff. So that's nice. Finally working right. Technology, thanks. Anyways, it's not as roasty as it smells, but I do get a little sweetness that they're talking about, but it's way in the back on the sides of the tongue. I think that's where sweet goes, right? Well, I don't know. I haven't had health class since high school. But yeah, let's see, what does this come in ABV-wise and everything? So I'll just read it on the bottle. It looks like it's 9.5. Oh, God. All right. It's going to be an interesting show, especially if it's just you and I.
That's right.
But yeah, it's 37 IBUs. They even have like the original gravity, best served at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, original. Yeah, it's cool that they have all that information. I like them, and the guys that run Ale Syndicate are super friendly, super nice. Every time I go to Beer Under Glass, they're always happy to have a second to chat. The only thing that's an issue with these bottles, and we can talk about this if it's ever, but they're going the Dark Lord route with a bunch of wax that I literally had to tear off eventually after I couldn't even use a box cutter to get this thing taken care of. So before the show started, Dan got to see just how difficult it was to open this. And you can even get wax for your own home brews if you wanted. Like, they sell it at homebrew shops in like these little wax like pellets or whatever, and you just melt them on the bottle, I assume. I don't know how it works exactly, but is that necessary? Like, does every beer that has that, I mean, it looks cool,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the old school stamps that they used to do back in the old days with the wax and the stamp
Yeah.
down, you know, and they were closing an envelope. I like that shit. Do you watch Game of Thrones? Or you?
No, but I mean, I'm familiar with Mr. Merton's
Yeah.
stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen past the first season, but everyone's just raving about it so much, and it almost makes me not want to watch it just because everyone wants to push it on you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it, it's like that kind of old school look to it. I like how it looks.
Yeah.
It is annoying for opening the beers because my biggest fear is the wax breaking off and little chunks falling into the beer itself.
Yeah.
So what is your method of going around this? Because this is a tough. Well, first of all, look at this bottle. It's tough to go around with a knife because of the way it's shaped.
Right.
It's got a weird hood on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost got like a Darth Vader helmet in the back, kind of a thing going on it. So that might have helped with the difficulty of me getting that off. But what do you usually do when you've got that? Do you have a bottle opener that just rips through? Because eventually that's what I ended up doing. But
Yeah, I mean, normally that's about the best you can hope for. I mean, it seems like they use different materials too. Like some of them are very stiff waxes that crack relatively easily and come right off. Some of them are almost like a rubber, sort of not even wax. So you're like pulling it off like a beer condom.
yep. And I've done that. I've actually like made it a goal. I'm like, all right, I'm so far. I think I can get this whole thing off without without one break, and I've done it once. So
no doubt. But I mean, it's the whole thing is that it's kind of a crapshoot there. And then I think the best thing that you can do is they have like that like wine openers will sometimes have attachments that you will peel off because they will sometimes have wax seals on top of wine bottles. You can use that. I think that they should just ditch the whole thing though, and I'm almost thinking that, especially with these special releases that people expect to sell, you should just ditch the bomber bottles altogether for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that the bombers mean that you have to drink all of this beer at once, which you might not want to do. You may not want to go through something that you've spent the last 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever, aging, and then it's gone in one shot. Whereas if you have like two 12-ounce bottles, you could make it last longer, and it would probably be easier to get more beer into more people's hands because there's chronically shortages on this stuff, but people are searching it out. But I think the other thing is that Thomas Hardy's got around this, and they didn't color code it, but they had gold foil on the top, and then they had little medallions, and the medallions were a nice touch, and they weren't really necessary. And then they'd like mark the vintage on the label along with like a serial number for the lot. But the foil, you could literally just pull that off and you were done. Because it's foil. It's not gonna be something that you have to get a hacksaw to try to take off the bottle or get a box cutter or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, I think it does look cool until you try to open the bottle, and then it's sort of like.
yeah, then it's just a little annoying. But I don't want to shit on it because it's it does look good, but it's just annoying. There's got to be a better method, or someone's got to make a wax that you could just yank off really easy. Make it like a rubbery style. Make it like silly putty, so then we can play with it after.
There you go.
Give me something to do, man.
Or like wax teeth, Like,
there you go. That's the way to go. All right, so we've got a couple things to talk about. One, you were gone last week, so we didn't get to hear about you were at the Mundelein Beer Festival. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, because the weekend before I missed that one, I went to another beer festival. So, and they were relatively close to each other geographically as well as being a week apart. What was it? The Braze Lake Beer Festival, the second annual. Was 2 weeks ago, and then last Saturday was the Mundelein Craft Beer Festival, which is the third year that they had it. So, yeah, it's funny to go to them that quickly back to back like that. especially when they're that local. Both of them are, because they're literally like one is 20 minutes in one direction, one is 15, 10 minutes in the other direction. So there are a lot of the same people there. Goose Island was there at both of them. Lagunitas was at both of them. So on and so forth. But they were very different festivals, which I found kind of interesting, just in terms of both. No, the character was a bit different, but also the beers. I mean, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like some festivals definitely gear more towards people who are just coming in, or people who are going out to have a good time that day, and they got a ticket to a beer festival, and they're going to enjoy the beer festival. Mm-hmm. And some of them, don't take that part seriously, but they're also more geared towards people who are like, hey, we can get this at the store. We know what this tastes like. What else have we got? And that's more like the Mundelein Beer Festival. Which isn't to say that Gray's Lake was completely all flagship beers, because it wasn't, but there's definitely more trending that way, whereas Mundelein Craft Beer Festival is trending more towards stuff that you wouldn't necessarily get every day.
That's cool. I like that better, because I've been to a couple of fests in the city even that, they had one at Lincoln Park Zoo, and it was in the middle of hockey season. The Blackhawks were in the playoffs, and so they had some bands playing, I remember, and it was packed. I remember, and I only remember the Blackhawks thing is because one of the bands that was on stage would play Chelsea Dagger every time it was announced that the Blackhawks had scored a goal. So it was already something that we were there missing the Blackhawks game, first of all.
Yeah.
So we were hoping for a really good fest, and first of all, the line to get in was atrocious. We were just like, I'm not waiting in this, and we kind of like merged with people that were just like slamming into line, and so we kind of just jumped ahead and got in, which was smart, because it was not, I don't know, it was weird the way they were handling it. And then there, like you said, there were mostly flagships. Like there were some good breweries there. Like in the Lincoln Park Zoo, it was cool because they even had like breweries setting up like in the animal houses. Like the cat house had like Lagunitas or something like that in it. And but the thing is, like, it was all flagships, and those like bigger breweries had like longer lines. So it was like, I'm not gonna sit here and wait in line to get a Lagunitas IPA when I've got it in the fridge at home. It's like,
yeah.
So it wasn't worth it for that kind of a fest, and that's why I'm always leery of the one that they do at Soldier Field, because it's just a big, highly promoted event that I just don't know how how much rare stuff you're going to find over the flagships from the breweries that you already know and love, but you know what I mean?
Right. Well, we were talking about another one that was coming up, which is the beer camp that Sierra Nevada is throwing, where they're actually going to do a road show, and that's hitting Chicago next month. I want to say towards the end of the month, like 27th, 26th, something like that. What do you think about that? Because that's pretty highly promoted.
It is,
but it's a little different.
It's a different story. I mean, first of all, isn't it touring? It's like going from major, like, city to city.
Mm-hmm.
I was just watching an episode of Craft Beer Nation. Matt, who's been joining us occasionally the last couple weeks, his show, Craft Beer Nation, I just watched their latest episode on barley wines, and this was a topic that they kind of touched on this week too. So I don't know. I don't know enough about the program or the event to kind of comment on it. So I don't know. It looked good. You said, how many breweries are there? Or I mean, what is it exactly? Is it a beer festival? Is it a traveling? What is your take on what this is?
Well, from everything that I've read, basically, at some point, Sierra Nevada said, got the people in Chico, California together and say, let's write all the breweries in the United States, basically, all craft breweries, and invite them to be part of this beer camp across America, or whatever it's called. And so they signed on something like, something ridiculous, like 700 breweries. Now, it doesn't mean that all 700 breweries are going to be in each city. What it sounded like is that everybody had the opportunity to be in these events, but they were going to probably, from what I was reading, gear each city that they visited as a hub for local beer brewing scene. So it'd be, Chicago's, and I think there's 7 cities, so they're not doing it, state by state. It's going to be Chicago, represents the Midwest,
gotcha.
and Boston represents the East Coast or something like that. So it's not a straight one-for-one, everybody's there sort of thing. But at the same time, I was seeing like Cigar City is going to be showing up in Chicago.
Ooh, nice.
They're Florida, yeah, exactly. And I forgot exactly. I mean, it was a big list, so I couldn't remember them all.
Now, here's something smart that if a brewery out of town like Cigar City, let's say, if they were smart, because they're traveling to this festival here, they should probably also send some kegs to like some local bars to do events.
Right.
The only reason I've ever heard of my favorite brewery, Shorts in Michigan, is because that's what they did. They came here for the Chicago Craft Beer Conference in Chicago in 2010, I want to say, and we found some of their beers in stores, like near my house. I was like, "What is that? I've never seen this, never heard of it." And Brad, my friend Brad, that you've met before, he and I were really into it. The Humalupalicious was amazing. Like, we just really dug it, and we drove there one day because of liking those beers that never would have even heard of them otherwise. I might have heard of them at a festival or something like that, but I wouldn't be where I am as far as my fandom of theirs if it wasn't for them doing that. So I don't know what the laws are in regards to doing that, because I know it's distribution-wise, they can't ship it here, but if they bring it over state lines and they want to sell it, like, how are they able to do that? I don't know. I just don't. I don't understand how that works, and it's Chicago, so it's even more complicated, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, they are kind of doing that. It sounded like with the fest, but they're not doing it with kegs. They, I think the way they're getting around it, because I know that there is a lot of sort of Byzantine, rulings regarding how things get shipped around. Sierra Nevada already, obviously, is distributed here. So what they've done is they're packing a 12-pack, and I don't know if this is going to be at the fest or around stores at the time the fest is here or what, but they're packing 12 packs of collaboration beers with, I don't know if it's 12 of the breweries that are involved in the fest, or
that's cool.
A number of them, but they're between the breweries in Sierra Nevada, they're making 12 beers, but so they're going to have that for sale at the fest, I think, at least, and it might be getting broader distribution at the time that it comes to time. Couldn't tell you for sure, though. I'd have to double check on that. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how they're addressing that.
Well, that's cool. Are you thinking of going to that, or is that just what's the price on those tickets?
Oh God, what was this? Either 45 or 65.
I thought it was 65 because at 45 I might have considered it, so it had to be 65 or higher.
Yeah, and in the end, I think there were other family obligations that I had going on that were sort of less set. But I was kind of like, you know what? I've been to enough fests that that one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's promote it at least. When is it at Navy Pier here in Chicago? Is it in July, right?
Right. It's on a Sunday. I remember that much. I want to say that it's on July 25th. Hold on a second. Let me use the
27th?
for you. I think. Hold on. Here to Chicago. Oh, there you are. Okay.
So while you're okay.
There we go.
Talk while you're looking up.
All right. Oh, wait a minute.
All right, while you're looking that up, I also wanted to mention, I sent you a text that last night Lagunitas Chicago Tap Room on Facebook posted that they just had their first beer pulled from the Lagunitas Chicago Tap Room. It is opening June 18th. This is epic news. This is something that we've been talking about on the show since before you even joined, Dan. Kevin and I we've been talking about the Lagunitas Tap Room opening up since like November of 2000, 12 maybe. So it says more info on the way. It doesn't say anything more than that. They just show looks like an IPA from Lagunitas poured on the in like a mason jar glass, one that I actually bought when I was at Lagunitas back a few years ago. So that's exciting. We're gonna have the ability to go to a Lagunitas location here in Chicago. How fucking cool is that?
That is pretty cool.
It's exciting, man. And
yeah.
so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to change the subject. I do want to get back to something else, so I'm going to write this down. So, so what did you find online? When's the date of the event?
Yeah, really quick. That is Sunday, July 27th, 2014. Obviously, actually it runs a little longer than most. It's 12 p.m. till 5 p.m. And let me just see. Yeah, tickets are $65 for general admission. They're $30 for designated driver. That is at Navy Pier. So, yeah, you can check that out at SierraNevada.com. They've got their, it's called the Beer Camp Across America, and it's happening next month. So,
nice.
There you go.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. I'm sure that's going to be a great event, and I love holding this up to the mic to see if you can hear this.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the other thing? Oh, so do you ever listen to any beer podcasts, or where you get most of your beer info? Is it just Beer Pulse, or where do you usually get like most of the news that you?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because Beer Pulse is one of them, but a lot of times what I do is that I'll go to Google Maps and I'll hit breweries as a general search parameter and just hit a place where I'm going to visit, and then I'll start kind of trolling through their websites for the various breweries, especially the ones that I haven't seen before. And then I might start, if one catches my eye, then I'll start doing a deeper search on Google. But that's kind of the way it goes. And then, yeah, I've been probably keeping my eye mostly on Beer Pulse for more immediate news. And every once in a while, the Twitter feeds, and this is a good resource for anybody who hasn't done it yet, which is probably most people have, but in case you haven't, the beer buyers at your local liquor stores very often have Twitter accounts, and they'll be posting articles that they find, and obviously they'll be telling you they get a release of it and so forth. So that's one where I've Vinny's in Buffalo Grove is a beer buyer there, Kendall, and he posts articles periodically that I've actually brought a couple of the shows.
Yeah, my beer buyer at the Binny's in Highland Park is in Denver, so he may not come back. He might like it so much that he's changed from beer to other things. So
hey now, but I think they're both out there actually, because it was funny because I have both of them on my feed, and they both went on vacation at the same time. And they both headed out west.
No way.
There's got to be a festival out there or something, man. So.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but regardless, they'll probably have fun either way.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I did want to mention, because the reason I asked about, where you get your beer news and stuff, because I watch a lot on YouTube. Some of the channels that I watch are really good. Like, there's one guy, his name's Greg. He shows up on, Share a Beer that airs on Google Plus every Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy on there named Greg, and he does a channel called Greg's Beer Reviews. And this guy has done over 1,000 beer reviews. He literally pumps one out every single day. And they're entertaining. And his beer fridge, they shoot a shot of his beer fridge, and they span up and down the shelves every episode. And it's entertaining, and he knows his beers. He's actually gotten responses from Greg at Stone, so it's kind of cool to watch him. But one of the podcasts I listen to, it's an NPR show called Beer. Let me look at it. It's called WBEZ Chicago Strange Brews. So it's a NPR show. It's on WBEZ here in Chicago, and it's actually sponsored by Lagunitas. So they actually are the ones that I was talking about in an interview they did with Tony McGee from Lagunitas. But the reason I mentioned it is because they just did interview with Gabriel Magliaro. I can't. Let me see if I can pronounce it. Magliaro. Gabriel Magliaro. He's the guy that runs and started Half Acre here in Chicago. So they did an interview about their new location, and it's a little north from where I live now. They say it's like 1.5 miles away from the current location, but I think it's a little further. But it's in the Bowmanville neighborhood, and they not only have like twice the amount of brewing space, but they plan on opening the restaurant that they couldn't open up at the other location within the brewery. So I guess it's not considered a brew pub because it's a brewery. I mean, it's kind of like Revolution's location on Kedzie, but instead of that tap room being there, it's going to be a restaurant. I'm picturing. So they didn't give much details. I don't know if they were supposed to even mention it on the show because he kind of made a joke like, yeah, I guess we're talking about that, but I can't really say much more than yes, there's going to be a restaurant inside the place. So that's kind of exciting, and it was kind of cool because that's one of the ways that I get my local Chicago beer news, at least, because they do a lot of interviewing with local guys, and they're located here in Chicago, so it's easy. Kevin, what's going on, man? I wanted to say hi before I kept on talking.
No, that's all right. Every week I come on and somebody's talking about right in the middle of something.
Welcome to the wild card episode. What you drinking there?
I have. I'll show you the beer itself first. It's a very good looking beer. Looks orangey on screen, but it's from Flying Dog in Maryland. The single hop Amarillo Imperial IPA.
Wow.
That sounds really good.
I've never seen that.
I had never seen it either, so I got it. It came in 6-packs. It's like I said, I got it because I have seemed to like everything that features Amarillo hops, and so it caught my attention, and I hadn't had a Flying Dog beer in a while. But it's a 10%er, an Imperial IPA. It's
high.
straight up Amarillo hops. That's it, and it's exactly what you'd think. Well,
I love Amarillo hops, so
that
sounds perfect.
It's not. What was the one? There was one from Pipeworks, right? The Amarillo Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only direct comparison I'm going to make because it claims to be exactly the same thing.
Right.
It's not quite as good as that one, but it's a good beer. It's an Imperial IPA that smells great. It's got a lot of good taste. While I wouldn't have picked it as 10%, it tastes strong, but it tastes 8.5-9% strong.
Right.
But it's a good one, and it comes in 6-packs too. You don't always see a big Imperial IPA in 6-packs like that.
Yeah, it's always a bomber these days lately.
Right.
Yeah. Or a 4-pack.
Yeah.
Is that a Three Floyds glass you got there?
Yes, it is. This is the 15th anniversary Three Floyds glass. If you can see it there.
Yeah.
X.
Nice.
It's not.
Did you get that
it's backwards to me. I mean, that's why I said it out loud. All the words are backwards.
Did you get that at Dark Lord Day one year?
I did not. It was a gift from Swan. He went to the 15th anniversary party.
Oh, when was that? I didn't realize that they...
It had to be 2-3 years ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize they were that old.
Yeah.
And I guess we've been going to Dark Lord Day for, 6-7 years now, so I guess that makes sense.
7 or 8, yeah. 7 or 8.
That's so crazy to think.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
It's so different.
Yeah,
it's so different back then. Man, mine's coming out boozy. Mine is like 9 point... What did I say?
What did you? I saw a picture before I logged on here. Is it
yeah, so I went with this guy. I went with the Ale Syndicate. It's a foreign stout. Stout.
Did we taste that at Beer Under Glass?
I don't think so.
I think I did.
Really? Oh, okay. Might have.
I think I did.
I'm trying to think because I remember us being by there.
I'm pretty sure I did. You guys were drinking the
Lagunitas Black
Lagunitas
IPA.
dark one.
The nighttime.
Yes, I didn't have that because I had
Yeah.
I had the El Syndicate one in my hand.
That's right. And they were in the same booth as Urban Legend, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was confusing.
Yeah. And they had some good beer there too. Actually, I haven't go to that brewery at some point, but yeah, I don't think I got Ale Syndicate there at all at the time I went there.
Yeah.
They're very nice guys too. Like they're super nice, and they'll talk to you. They'll talk your ear off, or they'll let you talk their ear off, depending on whether it's me or not. But I like this. It's like I said, it smells really smoky, but it doesn't taste that way. Also, I talked about this earlier, Kevin, but this is actually a collaboration that they've done. It's the first collaboration they've ever done with a yeast lab here in Chicago called Omega Yeast. So that's why it's called the Omega Midnight. So they're working with them to create a proprietary blend of yeast that work together to create, they say, a sweet, fruity stout with a dry finish. It's good. It doesn't...
Okay.
Like
I remember if I remember the same one, it was like very roasty.
It is.
I could taste the roast, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, I could use a little more roast.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like it. It's not a bad beer, but it tastes boozy.
Okay.
It is. I mean, it's 9.5, so yeah. I mean, you could taste it. It's good. And what did you have, Dan? Did you start tasting any more of the peanut butter in yours as it's warmed up, or?
No, actually, no, it hasn't. I got the goddamn pirate peanut butter porter.
Oh.
Spiteful. The goddamn pirate pigeon. Yeah. I mean, and it was definitely better at the festival. It might be one of those things where peanut butter fades. I don't know, or it could, because it's warm enough now. But I mean, you're not really getting it on the nose, and it's not showing up on the taste either as much. So, whereas at the fest, it definitely was. So
okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it might be.
I wonder if it was like so fresh.
Yeah, well, I don't know why, but it tastes different on the keg sometimes.
Yeah.
It does. So.
Do we have peanut butter beer on the wheel?
No.
No?
No, because I don't even know where I would get one other than the one that Dan's got there. Unless I went to Michigan, I don't know of one.
Yeah, no, there are a couple of them out there because I saw, and I was like trying to get reviews on this, that someone was comparing them to a couple of other ones, but they weren't local.
Okay, I was just saying, because I said that because I'd never seen a peanut butter beer before.
No, my guess is that they were down from like Atlanta or somewhere, down in the southern shores.
Shorts does a really good one because it's hard to brew with peanut butter, from what I understand, because it's too oily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what a lot of brewers will do is they use, and you can find it at homebrew shops a lot too, but it's called P2, I think, or PB2.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's a powder that you add water to it, and it becomes like a paste that is similar to peanut butter. So a lot of people who are allergic to peanuts can't have peanut butter, obviously. So this is like their substitute. A lot of brewers use it because it's easy to work with. It's not oily, and it's not something that is hard to kind of work with.
That must be at least a little more common than I thought. Just the fact that you knew that already.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, dude. The reason is because Shorts does a beer with peanut butter, and they talked about how they made it, and they said that they tried it with real peanuts before, and the oils that are involved just don't cooperate very well with making beer, so that's what they use to do one of theirs.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. They've got a lot of crazy recipes and stuff, so they do.
That must take them forever to figure out how to even start, like something like the key lime pie or the strawberry shortcake one. It's like to first of all to do that, and then to tweak it and perfect it all within the art of brewing. It's not like you're just making a flavor; you're also brewing a beer that just happens to have that flavor and have it just right. That must take them forever to do. I mean, I wonder how much they experiment.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, a lot of Shorts beers they kind of tweak them as they go
Yep.
year after year. So you may have the same beer and it's slightly different, but for the most part, like they kind of redo most of their crazier beers like that. The key lime pie they just are about to re-release if it hasn't already just come out, but I mean they actually use real graham crackers. I didn't realize that they described it because they showcased it on their last podcast. Yeah. They were like, they were explaining like what they do to make the key lime pie, and they're like, yeah, there's graham cracker in it, and that's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, there's a local Off Color, I think, does the same thing with their Dinosaurs stout. Yeah, and they're doing, they're trying to get the roastiness from the coffee to emulate the chocolate. Something that they're doing for the marshmallow sweetness, but I think they've got graham crackers in the mix to actually get the that flavor going with the s'mores. But it's supposed to be really good.
That's really it makes me wonder how, for these brewers they're talking about that make these unusual flavored beers, you wonder how many failures they have and how interesting the failures are. You're like, we tried to do that. You're never going to hear about it, but because maybe they try 3 different things for every one that might work.
Well, think about this. Most failures, let's say 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Some of the most popular beers now. You have a beer that went sour back 6-7 years ago before we've ever had a sour, and that's exactly what people are like going crazy for now.
Right.
So who knows what styles are going to be out there next, and I think those breweries that do all that crazy experimental stuff is good, because maybe what if one of those bad batches do end up being something in the next,
or it's accidentally good, like the at least the story on the Lagunitas brown sugar. It was like, we tried to make a barley wine and we screwed it up, but it was good anyway, so here it is.
Yeah. But and that's interesting too, because you see this like the Cascadian dark ale / black IPA ale, or IPAs, is that there's a real sort of perception, especially in the home brewing community, but I think in brewing in general, in a more broad sense, that styles are somehow fixed, at least especially internationally. I mean, if you go over to England or Belgium. I mean, you've got a very entrenched concept in a lot of porters, not all of them. I don't want to generalize too much, but of what exactly a certain style should be, and that definitely carries through to home brewing. But in the States, you've got all these sort of crazy experiments going on, and really, what kind of defined the styles that are European in origin was local ingredients and experimentation, creating these styles over a given period of time. I mean, actually, the whole term ale didn't used to refer to beer as we know it at all. Ale was an English style of barley, concoction that was bittered and flavored with spices because they didn't have hops, and that was ale, and that's only over time come to be associated with the yeasts that are involved rather than the ingredients. So it is kind of cool where all this experimentation is going, because it's not just the flavors of today, but it could be like completely different styles of tomorrow that evolve into their own kind of classes. So.
Well, here's another touch on that. Which is kind of even more ironic and a little kind of meta, if you will. Like if you think about it, like we have duplicated many English-style beers. I was just watching a lot of the videos on the Craft Beer Temple, and so Chris from the Craft Beer Temple and Steve Massini, I think is his name, from Beer Download. It's a podcast that's recorded here in Chicago. Those two guys went to England, and they were kind of blown away about how it's now popular in England to duplicate American-style beers, like doing the West Coast-style American IPA,
right?
Which is hilarious, because the IPA is an English style at the very beginning of things. Like it started when England was colonizing in India, so it's an English style that we took on our own spin on it, and now England's doing their own version of our our version of their style. Like, it's hilarious. Not only was it with IPAs and things like that, but it was like all kinds of styles, and they were all originally English ales or English style beers that they're now copying our versions of their versions.
Oh yeah, I mean the dialogue going on is a mess. I mean, because that's how you're getting all these imperial ales. Is that started out as being purely, I think, a stout-driven thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think that was an imperial IPA that was going to India. IPAs were going to India, and then the whole idea of imperializing that came along later. But no, I mean, you're seeing it in like red ales. I mean, you're even seeing imperial brown ales finally, which is like, I wanted to brew that style first, and having someone beat me to it. But but it's just that sort of that concept of like, you know, we're going to take this style and we're going to pump it up and, you know, create a profile on both the malt side and the hop side that just, you know, becomes Hulk smash.
Yeah.
But none of that was traditional at all. That just was all made up as people went along.
And think about how, you know, the classic story of IPA is what it is, so it could survive the trip to India. Yeah. But then think of that in the context of the Enjoy by IPA, or the funny, like, oh, I'm not going to drink that Pliny, it's 7 days old. Like, wait a minute, this is the style that was defined to last.
Yeah.
And now we've redefined it where we got to drink it as fresh as we can. For the same reason, the hops. The same reason that it was preserved for the long trip.
Yeah. Well, and I remember reading. I'm sorry. I was going to say. I remember reading an article too that it may not even been the hops that were solely preserving the beer, because since these are stored in barrels, a lot of what they're thinking now is that these were sours in a lot of respect by the time they got over to India, and it was really that which was sort of preserving them at least as much. And the flavor profile was totally different, even than what you get in an English IPA today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's always if you read in Beer Advocate, there's always like one columnist who's really into, you know, talking about the history of something, finding a recipe from 100 years ago, and also stuff like that, showing how it's, you know, people have this perception that you know, a style is a style, and then it's just in these days that we're really screwing with the styles and doing creative stuff, and then that's just not the truth. You look back and like the particular article was on Guinness, how people think, oh well, Guinness is such a, you know, kind of a classic, it's such an old brewery and old beer, but you know, Guinness is, as it's sold today, is, you know, only really dates back to the 70s. Yeah. Before that, you know, they show the old recipes and, you know, the old artifacts that show what it's made of, and the you know, all the statistics, and it's like, well, it was a completely different beer, different alcohol content, different hops, different, you know.
Why don't they try doing that, duplicating the old recipes? That'd be
just like the old Miller Lite can, you know, instead of the can, go back to the old recipe.
I mean, it's market-wise, that's a slam dunk. I mean, how many beer geeks would want to try like the oldest version of the oldest recipe of Guinness? Like,
well, I mean, to a certain extent, Dogfish Head does do that. I mean, like their Midas Touch. Yeah, I mean, they're like doing beer archaeology, which I think is really kind of cool, but at the same time, it's sort of gimmicky, because the idea of doing that is interesting on a molecular chemistry basis and blah blah blah. But as far as what you're actually getting in the end is, the yield is, yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, those beers are just interesting, not for the fact that, like, I'm having a beer like they had in Sumeria back in the... I'm not even touching that idea, like, that's what I'm drinking, but it's just an interesting type of beer. You know, it's interesting in the world of beer.
Yeah.
Different recipe. I mean, I'm looking forward to opening this. I have the 2005 Midas Touch. So if I wait until next year, I'll have a 10-year-old ancient beer.
No, that's right. It was.
I was really.
That's pretty good. I of course had it fresh. I guess the recipe's old.
As have I. But I kept it. I found it, and I was like, I'm only a few years away from the 10-year mark. I might as well just leave it. So I've had it in the closet for like forever.
Okay, right? Because that's got to be a 9%er or something like that.
I don't know.
Touches a pretty strong one.
All right, so I mean, I'm not worried. I mean, you can age most beers up to 10 years, from what I understand. The only thing is, you know, stuff like I mean, they say that you can age stuff over 10 years, and obviously you can. Dan, you've got plenty of that Thomas Hardy that's just, it's delicious after, I mean, I don't know what year we had when we had it because the label fell off, but...
Oh, yeah, well, I know it was either 98 or 99, so you're talking 15 or 16. You get a ballpark at least.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Nothing lost. I mean, I don't know, because I've never had it fresh, but...
that's the point. You don't want it fresh. Like literally, I had a couple of fresh early on, and I was sort of like, I gotta let it sit because it's just way too horrendously sweet, and it really, you gotta sit on it.
Same as Dark Lord. Most people think, Dark Lord sucks. It's so sweet and this and that. It's like, yeah, because you gotta let it sit for at least I would say at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Before opening a bottle. I mean, it's interesting to try, and I'm curious because of the fact that there's a whole new different coffee in it this year and all that stuff. But did you guys see the video that I posted on Facebook today?
I did.
No, which one?
These two guys from.
Wait, can you actually play the video because it's only like 2 minutes long?
Yeah, let me post it up here real quick while I'm talking about it. So. The guys, I think they're from Metropolitan, so they've been doing a few reviews occasionally on YouTube called "Just Keep Tasting."
Just what?
Just Keep Tasting.
Oh, keep tasting. Okay.
Yeah, Tasting. TASTIN apostrophe. So they're kind of stealing my way of talking when I'm. Titling my podcast and stuff. So let me find this. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can share this once I've got it queued up. But these guys, let me pause this. Did you guys hear that at all? Or is that just in my headphones?
That's in your headphones.
All right, I'm going to see if I could just do YouTube share and do it that way. What in the hell is this? All right. So, anyways, these guys, I saw a review where they actually shotgunned 2 cans of Heady Topper. They took a knife and just jabbed it and shotgunned it. It was quite hilarious. So I'm opening up the YouTube app right now to see if I can.
There we go.
Do I have to hit use app?
Are you seeing my screen?
YouTube needs my permission. Just a sec.
Yeah.
So you don't see my picture? You're seeing YouTube right now?
I don't know. No. Just a second. Something popped up for me.
No, yeah, it gave us a thought bubble that said.
I can't even.
Sharing something on. Yeah, don't. It doesn't look like it looks good.
All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to change my audio to the outside mic so that first of all I'm gonna turn this off. What I'm gonna do is just share my my screen once I've got this pulled. Yeah, this is quite entertaining. Do you understand what they do, Dan, with the straws? Like, was that just a joke, or does that help in what they were doing?
I think that was just a joke. Because how can it? I mean, the only thing that I can think of is that it reduces the flow, so that they're not just getting completely bombarded. But
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let me get this all the way back to the beginning because it. This is kind of ridiculous. All right, so these guys are from Metropolitan is from what I gathered based on what I saw everybody posting about this. So let me share my screen here. Is it working?
Not yet.
Oh, here we go. Desktop. All right, sharing my screen here.
There we go. Whoa. Okay. Wait. Oh.
All right. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right. First, I think. Shoot. I forgot I gotta change the output of my audio.
Yeah.
I know that's weird, isn't it?
Dude.
All right. All right, I'm going to play this now.
There we go.
The show where we try rare and unique beers and tell you what we think about them. My name's PK. I'm Doug, and this week we will be enjoying the 2014 Dark Lord Russian Imperial Stout from Three Floyds. It's a very highly sought-after beer, only available one day a year at Dark Lord. This year they used dark matter coffee in the beer. Comes in at around 15% ABV. 15% ABV. From what I understand, it's very rich.
Are you guys hearing this?
And chocolatey with a little bit of that coffee flavor. You know, a lot of people tend to cellar their Dark Lords. However, we believe in drinking beer fresh. Fresh beer is always the best. When it comes straight from your local brewery to you, fresh beer. Well, I think it's about time for us to give this a taste. Let's try it. It's the wax top. Dark Lord because it's wrestling with the devil to get the lid off. Often served in smaller amounts due to its high ABV. However, that's not how we do things here. No, I believe that it comes in a specific size container for a reason. So, let's give it a shot, shall we? Cheers. Cheers. Well, that's very rich. Very rich. You definitely taste the chocolatey notes. I'm not sure why you put such a large.
He almost vomited there.
I think a smaller portion would have been better. Overall, pretty tasty. Yeah, very great body. More of that softer carbonation. Yeah, not overly carbonated. I'd give it an A. Yeah, good beer. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Just Keep Tasting. We'll see you next time, and until then, just keep tasting. Well, we fucked that one up, but just keep tasting anyways.
I think the most hilarious part about that video is that in the last minute, you can see them getting drunk. Instantly.
That's
it's like
that's a lot.
Shotgunning a 22-ounce bomber of Dark Lord at
10 or 14%, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, it's like instant drunk. I mean, you can literally see it. It's sort of like their eyes glaze like for 30 seconds.
Like
it's like
when he finishes it, when the guy with the dark hair finishes it, he's like. Like his face goes like that. You're like, oh my god.
Well, think about how strong tasting and thick that is.
I know.
I mean, the last handful of times I've had any has been like in a 3-ounce, little taster that takes 5 minutes to drink.
It's like shotgunning a cheesecake that's been soaked in rum.
Yeah. I mean, I watched that and I was like, good lord. I was like, are they really? They opened it like on camera. So I'm like, wow, they really did just shotgun or like just chug down a whole bottle. I had to share that. That cracked me up. But they have a couple other videos apparently, and one of them is the first one actually is them shotgunning a can of Alchemist, which is pretty equally as funny. So yeah, that cracked me up. So all right, I have the wheel here. Let me get this opened here, and let's see what we've got on here.
We added a bunch last week, didn't we?
We did. So actually, let me turn this down really quick. My headphones are really loud.
Sorry.
Very funny. All right, so we've got Belgians. We got the wild card. Collaborations, West Coast style IPAs, State of Washington, 10% and higher, IPA, rye beer, IPA with Cascade, barrel aged, cellared, canned beer, malt liquor, stays on there, Pilsner, Saison, blended beers.
Wait, Pilsner. Didn't that just get done?
Technically, it was lager last week.
It was Pilsner, actually.
No, it was any lager last week.
Pilsner.
I think you're wrong.
If
you want to go back to the tape, sir,
I'll go
ahead,
check the tape.
So then we've got Saison, blended beers. So we kind of thought of the idea of the I don't know if you were on the show when I did that one, the Young's organic chocolate and the strawberry or the cherry.
I was. I think we both. I think it was the three of us that show.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we were both on. Yeah.
All right, cool. So so that kind of gave me an idea of maybe doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be that one, obviously. A smoked beer, a cream ale, and anything from New York.
That's right.
So we're gonna take off the Pilsner.
Right.
And what would you like to add, Dan? You're new to this week, so you didn't get to participate in what we added. So let's.
Oh, that's right.
Got any ideas?
Absolutely, and this is I totally stealing this. Well, I don't know if stealing is the right word, but from your review that you that had the gusher from the Beer Temple. But I think that it's a summer style, and we should do it because it's early in the season, and hopefully it'll come up in time. But Berliner Weiss.
Berliner Weiss.
Do it for Berliner Weiss. Absolutely.
Okay. To kind of talk about what he's talking about, O'Boyle, I forwarded a really funny video. I think I sent it to you too.
Okay.
If not, let me know, because it was a video from Chris at the Craft Beer Temple. It's a beer store here in Chicago, and he does a video podcast where he does reviews on things. And he opened 3 beers from, what was the name of the brewery? Do you remember? It was.
Oh God! I remember it was in Massachusetts. That's all I remember.
Was it? Okay, then.
It was like 2 words.
Yeah, I was like, I'll have it in a second. But anyways, he opens up 3 bottles. They're all cork and caged.
Yep.
And he opens the second one and it just erupts. And it goes straight up and out. Like it was.
Oh yeah.
It was not expected at all, and his face was just like, "Well, I'll be back." You could tell.
Yeah. Cut camera.
It was awesome. Yeah, it cracked me up. So come on. All right, I'm not gonna bother with this, but it was probably his most recent video on the Craft Beer Temple.
Okay.
If you go to his YouTube channel, it was quite entertaining. I know I'm not spelling Berliner Weiss.
Oh yeah. No, Berliner Weiss is a.
Is it one word?
Yeah, I think it's one word, but it's a tart beer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know that I've ever had one.
Huh.
I want to say that Off Color locally makes a really good one.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite beers from Chicago Craft Beer Week. From the local event here in town. Oh yeah, absolutely. I forget which one that was called too. It was not scurry. It was like imperious, or it's like.
Okay.
You just go down the list.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got the wheel here. I'll go ahead and give her a spin.
There's a lot on there. Wow.
Yeah, I know there's quite a bit this time. So let's see what we.
Yeah, we got a West Coast IPA.
All right, that's a doable.
All right.
That's doable.
Yeah. Plenty of those in the store.
Yeah, this is a this is a show for Cash to come back on.
Yeah, that's right.
He's from that area, so I'll make sure that I give him a little heads up on the style that we've picked. So cool. We've got our show set for next week, which I'm just making sure I've got nothing going on. I should be around, so.
Oh no! By this time next week, my kitchen may be destroyed, which is where I'm broadcasting from right now.
Ah, so it'll look totally different.
Yeah, either that or else it's like, yeah, it's going to be, well, yeah, this will look totally different, but I don't know if you'll see this. You'll either see, like, studs in the background or, it's like it'll be the basement.
Or you'll be, I was going to say, the garage or the basement.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I could do the patio. Oh, man.
Nice.
We'd be doing most of our life for the rest of the summer anyway, so.
Yeah. So how long is that supposed to take? Is that
Oh, I mean, they say like what do they say? 2 months, like 6 to 8 weeks, but it's going to be as long as it takes.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
But it'll be worth it. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. I know I got a lot of, of notices this week that people weren't going to be able to make it. So I appreciate that you guys were able to join us. And we'll be doing this like we do every week at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and on Google+. You can follow us on our the blog here at www.podcastcondition.com, where we will eventually have all of our shows posted and up to date. But you can also go on our YouTube channel, find me by my name, Mike Copera. Just look for that logo right there, and you'll be able to access every video, every review we do. Dan and I just did a joint review not too long ago on a new Pipeworks beer the day that it came out, or the day that we saw that it was released. So hadn't seen any reviews on it yet, so we wanted to jump on that and do that first. So we have all kinds of stuff like that on there. So jump on YouTube, join our channels there, subscribe to the blog on podcastcondition.com, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, whatever. I don't do Vines that much anymore, but we're on there. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next week, and we will be drinking West Coast style IPAs. Not too bad for the warmer winters or warmer weather. Thanks, guys. It does feel like winter sometimes still, though, you know.
You're drinking a winter beer right now, that's for sure.
I'll drink a stout in the winter. I don't care. All right, guys. Cheers. Thanks for joining.
Cheers.